Good morning, everybody. My name is Valerie, and thank you for taking some time to connect both with me and your fellow TLCers through the video Devo this morning. You know, today I want to soak in some verses that Renee mentioned in his sermon last weekend, and they're from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, and I'm going to start in verse 17. Therefore, anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone, and a new life has begun. And all of this is a gift from God who brought us back to himself through Christ. And God has given us the task of reconciling people to him. For God in Christ was reconciling the world to himself, no longer counting people's sins against them. And he has given us this wonderful message of reconciliation. You know, there's so much to love in these verses. The reminder that in Christ we're made new. The old life isn't our identity anymore. Our identity is now in Christ. And we've talked a lot about that in this Ephesians series. Paul says a new life has begun. But what I want to camp on for a moment this morning as we start our day is what the Apostle Paul calls the task of sharing this wonderful message of reconciliation, the gospel of peace with God that we talked about last weekend. You see, God never intended that we should just receive this gospel of peace and then just bask in it and hoard it all to ourselves. The gospel of peace isn't a party of one. This is for everybody. And for better or for worse, God's plan has always been to include us in the sharing of the gospel of peace, of reconciliation between God and the world. And you know, the best way I think to share this wonderful message is simply to live it out. You know, how did Jesus live when he was on earth, on his mission of reconciliation? Philippians 2 says he served. When we serve others, we are living out the gospel of peace. You know, the other day I was picking up my egg white bites at Pete's Coffee in Capitola. And as I was walking through the door, I noticed off to the side there were these two guys just sort of slumped against the wall. And they clearly were in a tough spot in life. And also, as I was walking in, I ran into two guys from TLC who were walking out of Pete's Coffee. And so we said a brief hello, and then I continued on in to pick up my order. And when I came out, which was relatively quickly because I used their nifty order ahead feature, I saw the two guys from TLC sharing coffee and conversation with these two men who had been slumped up against the wall. You know what? That's living the gospel of peace. That's sharing the gospel of peace. These guys from TLC went into Pete's and they chose to order 2 more cups of coffee. They chose to set aside their schedules and linger for a minute and chat with these guys while they drank their coffee. You know, a person who knows they have been reconciled to God, who knows they have peace with God, that peace is going to overflow. And that peace is going to bring joy. That peace is going to bring gratitude. That peace is going to bring generosity and a desire to serve others. I mean, we've been reconciled to God. We have a wonderful message to share, and God has given us a task. And you may feel like life is going too fast for one more task, or you may honestly just feel like I'm in a season where I'm set aside. I don't think God has given me that task right now. No. If you're here and you're alive, and I'm guessing if you're watching the Devo, you're alive, you have a task. You have a task to share this wonderful message of peace with God through Jesus Christ. And I hope that today, as you go through your day, you live that out. You live it out with the people that you live with the people you work with the people you encounter, that you live out the message of peace with God. I'll see you at church.